Welcome to Athens, welcome to the NPL Servicing and Investing Summit hosted by DDC Financial Group. It's our pleasure to have with us Yuri Kostrobyi, which is the founder and partner of Avistar Group, which is one of the sponsors of this summit. Yuri, let's go directly and immediately to the framework introduction of the NPL market overall and the context in Ukraine.
Yes. Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here and to present on the Ukrainian market and Ukrainian opportunities. I think it's already serious. There is a series of summits which has Ukrainian section, and I believe that it's a good time to present the Ukrainian market, which just opened up, as you probably know, a few years ago. The Ukrainian NPL market is now in the stage of its active sales and active process. We have, I think, we already developed certain infrastructure. We developed and we attracted investors to Ukraine, and the NPL market started to work. So it's good timing to discuss opportunities which pop up in Ukraine and to say that we already have the market. Which we were focused for the last post-crisis years.
Yuri, please, let's share with us and figure out which is the situation by now in Ukraine as in terms of players, because we know that there is important players which has maybe 15 over 20 billions of the total amount of the NPL assets in his hand, and of course there are the other players like you. You are, as Avistar, one of the top 5 buyers in Ukrainian market. Doing so, why and how investors has to evaluate what do they have to evaluate before entering the Ukrainian market?
The Ukrainian market was and still is a substantial NPL market for the European standard. It used to be in line with Cyprus and Greece and some other markets, but the level of NPLs decreased substantially within last 3 to 4 years as the market started to develop and active sales processes hit up. We have 3 major sources of NPLs. Well, first of all, is Depository Guarantee Fund, which still holds close probably to 30 billion of NPLs, which are in active sales standard processes. They sold most of the unsecured debt, but they still have mortgages and corporate debt from the banks which went into insolvency post-crisis. We have another substantial chunk of NPLs coming from international banks. That is around close to probably 10 to 15 billion US dollars. And we have state banks, which are for time being the biggest holders of the corporate NPLs, which are not yet for sale. It is hard to estimate the exact number, but 60%, 50 to 60% is the approximate level of non-performing loans on the balance sheet of the state banks. So Ukrainian market is still sizable, despite the increasing sales and active sales at the market. It still presents good opportunity for investors.
And how much is it? How much hard is to find, as we know, how much is important, affordable and reliable servicing partners for you as a buyer?
We used to have our own servicer. We are active buyer in mortgages and corporate debt. Our servicer was more of a boutique nature, in-house servicer. We believe that it is not very easy to find a servicing partner in Ukraine. Most of the servicing partners, especially in servicers in mortgage and corporate segment, are local companies with relatively underdeveloped infrastructure and IT systems and procedures and processes. Consequently, at least in our case, we decided to develop servicing capacity together with APS Holding and to bring APS to Ukraine and to help to develop the servicing infrastructure. So it is not easy to find a servicing partner, but things started to change and international players are coming to Ukraine now. And I think within next 1 or 2 years, we will see more entrants coming. I don't think this obviously will not be like Greece or Italy, where you have huge sizes and huge investors and huge services, which are often owned by large international funds, but it will be a decent market for CE standard.
And looking at one of the key aspects, one of the key factors, so we are talking about the legal framework, which is the situation in Ukraine. How far is Ukraine and the legal system in Ukraine from the best practices in the Central Europe countries?
It's still catching up. I think Ukraine is one of those remaining spots where the infrastructure starts to develop and it's not yet in place. There are substantial efforts from the side of the government and from the side of international financial institutions, primarily IFC and EBRD, to help develop the legal infrastructure, to clean the system, and to allow the NPL resolution to be done in a proper European way. I think those changes are in place. They will take some time. I think the new insolvency law, the private bailiff system, the changes which are coming into the state bank NPL resolution processes will definitely help those to proceed and go forward.
Yuri, we're going to the end. How much important are moments like these of debating, sharing, and of comparison with other important actors, other important players? So we are talking, of course, about the DDC summit hosted here in Athens. How much important it is to share the best practices with the best or the top professionals?
I think that this is important. I do believe that partial success of the Ukrainian NPL story, Ukrainian NPL sales, and Ukrainian NPL resolution comes from the publicity, from ability to present our case in a series of DDC summits, including London, Prague, and Vienna. And I think those summits are definitely bringing opportunities and investors together. I know that the next summit is planned in Kiev, and I think this will be one of those events which will still help to advance Ukraine into the European NPL practice and to put Ukraine on the map. So I think that this let's say push towards publicity and push towards gathering of servicers, investors, advisors, other market players and stakeholders together is definitely a very important part and very important path for not only for the markets but also for the countries in their NPL resolution practice.
Yeah, of course, we remember the next meeting in Kiev. It will be hosted by DDC Financial on
February,
26th of February. Thank you to Yuri Kostrobyi, I remember founder and partner of Avitsar Group, for having joined us, and enjoy the rest of the summit.
Thank you very much.